Okay, so this demo is going to show you how to create a special effect where you can make yourself look like you're flying or running really fast, and just basically kind of teleporting in a way. So what I did is I videotaped myself. I also videotaped just the room in its like natural state, and I just kind of ran around to different spots. So what I've done right now is I'm picking a frame that I want to export. So if you kind of watch here, you can see there's me running, so I'm actually running, but what I'm going to do here is just kind of get it to a point where I want to freeze frame it, and what I'm going to do is export this frame. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Share. The first time you do this, you have to go Add Destination, and I added Save Current Frame, which is in the next menu. So I'm just going to go Save Current Frame now, and this is basically exporting a movie, so you can set it as a TIFF. I'm going to hit Next, and I'm going to send it to my Special Effects, and this is going to be called Run Capture 2. Oops. Hit save. Okay. And Run Capture 2 is right here. So now I'm going to drag that into Photoshop. Okay. And what you can see here is what I'm doing, this is my first frame, and it's not even that great of a job. I'm just trying to get myself isolated. Okay, so exit that one out. And I'm using my quick selection tool to basically, whoops, don't want to delete my arm. So hold on Option there. Basically just delete the background. So you want to clear background, and honestly that doesn't even matter really, I guess. I mean it does, but it doesn't. If you have a little bit in there, it's not a huge deal. I'm doing this kind of quick. I'm not spending too much time on all the details and stuff. But if you wanted to, I mean, you could really, if you really wanted this to look perfect, I would, go in and spend some time really. All right. Couple more things here. All right, let's double check the other side. Looks good. Okay, so I'm going to deselect. Okay, so that's my body that I'm going to keep. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to File. I'm going to save it as. I don't want to mess with the original. And we're going to call this Run Edit to, and we're going to change the file type to a PNG. There you go. I'm saving that same folder. Hit save. Okay. All right. So I'm going to exit that out. And don't save the original because you already saved the copy. So here's Run Edit to. All right, I'm going to bring that in. You can see I still have my playhead at that capture spot. So I'm just going to literally drop it in. All right, and this is going to have to be, you can see how the other one looks. So what I'm going to do here is just go and just kind of shrink it up. All right. And then I got to start editing here. So I'm going to zoom in on my clips. All right. You can see right here is that spot where I'm going to freeze frame myself. Well, I need to cut my original clip then. Okay, so there's my original clip. And then we'll zoom out again. So I'm going to cut it basically to where I move. So here's where I move to. All right, so I'm going to cut it there. And then what I have is, this is actually, kind of zoom in here. This clip right here is actually just the classroom by itself. So I'm going to Option click and drag it just to duplicate it. As you can see, that's just the classroom by itself. There's nothing, I'm not in that clip. So what I want to do is then bring this one. Okay, so we've already copied in our freeze frame, and what I'm going to do now is then copy this still shot. Oh, actually, I already copied that still shot of just the room. So I'm going to drop that into this spot here, and I'm just going to line this one up with that frame there. So what this eventually is going to look like is it's going to freeze frame, but we're going to blur that, and then going over here. And I want to find that spot where I'm just standing to trim this out to, which I already did. So I'm going to delete this chunk now. So kind of like in a quick glance, that's what it's going to look like. But I'm going to do a little bit more to this. And there's some color correction stuff. Like it's a little bit darker, some of the clips. So you can mess with that stuff as well. So here, what I'm going to do, let's see if that even, if the timing is looking good or not. Not too bad. So I'm going to click on that freeze frame clip here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my effects here. And I'm going to go to blur and then directional blur. So I'm going to put that on there. And that's going to play for just a split second. So right here I'm going to say, all right, directional blur, the amount All right, we'll start it like a little bit lower. Let's see. And then it gives you this arrow, and what that does is kind of controls how much blur there is. So I'm going to start at that point, and then at the end of the clip, if it'll let me get there, create another keyframe, and then we're really going to blur it out there. So it's just over a quick, sprint of time. And you could actually keyframe this transform too. That would be something cool. This would basically be the same way you're going to do if you did flying. You would just have them fly upwards. Okay. So I'm going to now, let's see. So you can see that's a little bit darker. This one's a little bit lighter. So maybe I go in here and I go into my video, go into color. And actually, you know what? I'm going to try something else. We're going to try match color. Say choose, and we're going to choose this clip. And we'll say apply match. So let's see what that looks like. Still a little bit different. So that one's a little bit brighter. Maybe I'll just go in and I will mess with the exposure. Just darken that up just a little bit. See if that matches. And, it doesn't have to be perfect, but, you can mess with this more and more to really get it to work. I'm going to go back out of my color here. See if I can match color again. Okay, not bad, but... All right, so we have that. And let's see what this looks like now when we play it. Put this up a little bit. Yeah, not too bad. I'm not 100% happy with the color. Maybe it's better just having it that brightness there. So anyway, this is stuff that you can kind of play around with and get to a point where you're pretty happy with it. Actually, this may be better. And like I said, you could keyframe a little bit of movement if you wanted to. So I'm just kind of using my arrows there. So all right, at this point, let's create a keyframe, and then we'll say at this point, create another keyframe, and I'll just move it. Oops. Keyframe, and then another keyframe. Just move that thing slightly. See if that does anything. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. All right. So kind of cool there. And then, you could honestly, if you really wanted to, you could also have like a blurred effect coming from this side too. So you could have it blur as I start to run and then blur as I stop running. So that's a little bit more complicated. It would basically be the same step, except I'm freeze framing me running, or kind of the finishing of the run and just blurring that. So that's pretty much the the quick run demo, and try it out yourself.